senior and a level 4 student, and I'm going to be reading a few poems for you today. The first is entitled Wish for a Drowned Daughter, after Frankenstein. I carried her through the quarter, like Maria limped in my arms. If I could save her by some charm, call her back from the floodwater, the monster whose sense could barter floating magnolias for disarrayed breaths, I'd cover the streets each day with oysters, watch my neighbors crack them open, and follow the tracks of shell and pearl, a game we play. The next two poems I'm going to read for you are based off of a man called Louis Congo. He was a slave freed in 1725 to become New Orleans' first executioner. And the poems I'm going to read for you are entitled Louis Congo to a Man on the Wheel and Louis Congo's Wife. Louis Congo to a Man on the Wheel. I rule this ridge where gators rest and bow their heads, where cicadas sing for my ears only. In the distance, a drum beats Congo, 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 each time my knuckles crack your hips. My skin and yours tear, but I will deliver you away from this strange land, away from my strange hands that beat, and never cease these days when sunlight drifting through the mosses appears as in an unending dream. So when I finally steal your breath that tries to bend the tall grass brushing against my shins, I will gaze into the bayou, scrub the blood from my thin fingers until, stiff and raw, they strike away my image from the water. And when I'm swallowed in sleep, my heart's pulse will murmur, Louis, 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 knowing before I wake, my hands will grope through your limbs and piece them back together again. Louis Congo's Wife. Waist deep now, I tread unsettled waters, my skirts floating up like swamp gas. I drag your limbs behind me, mon cher, a yard of twine tethered to your ankles. My feet sink into the curdling mud, my breasts, dark studded with droplets that catch the sunlight, heave up above the water. Chest deep now, I climb onto your body, a raft barely held together under my knees, floating just below the bayou's surface. The stitches that hold thigh to hip have loosened, and I tighten the threads, pulling the three ends taut and knotting them. As the sky begins to darken, I float past narrow banks of muddy land I'll never return to, where a pair of torches flash like cayman eyes, and 8 blistered hands drag me from our bed by the ankles, the way Set captured Osiris. I've picked up every piece of you, toes, knuckles, lips, scattered across the swampland, every chunk, swollen and gnawed upon, pushed up by the bottom feeders, and still you drift away from me, demanding blackberries and tapia, libation for the dead. Tugging the threads that keep you together, I watch them slice through muscle and skin. Your fingers, ribs, balls, and calves pull away like crab meat pecked from the shell, and I sink through naked.
Thank you.